with the National Wildlife Federation, and I'm here at the Mote Marine Lab in Sarasota, Florida. We're at a symposium that's looking at the impact of the Gulf oil spill on the creatures of the Gulf of Mexico. And what we're focusing on today is what the impact of the spill may have been on some of the large fish that are out there, those top predators like sharks, like bluefin tuna, like wahoo. We're now going to turn to some of the scientists attending the symposium and see what they have to say.
My name is Aaron Adams. I am a senior scientist at Mote Marine Laboratory and director of a science-based non-conservation group called Bonefish Tarpon Trust. So a big concern about the Gulf oil spill is the huge size of it and the long-term implications of it. One of my primary concerns in the Gulf of Mexico is tarpon. They're one of the large migratory species that can travel throughout the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get a grip on him. We'll tire him out. It's the best way. Unless I can get a good stab on him.
Jerry Alt's research, for example, with satellite tagging, this Bonefish Tarpon Trust supports that research, funds it. They can move thousands of miles, the Keys to Louisiana, or even Keys up to Chesapeake Bay on the East Coast. And so they're similar to sharks, whale sharks, and other sea turtles, other migratory large organisms that incorporate all of the things that the Gulf of Mexico and Western Atlantic have to offer, whether it's food or water quality, different habitats. One of our concerns is that all those migratory species might change where they migrate because of the impacts of the oil spill. For example, one of the things that I do a lot is I interact with fishermen as well as fishing guides. Those anglers and guides have been telling us already this past year about changes in tarpon behavior. For example, instead of moving from east to west, seeing fish moving from west to east. Instead of going to Louisiana or Florida Panhandle, they might go to Mexico instead, or Honduras, where they actually get harvested, sometimes in high numbers, which hurts our fishery in the long term. So all those anecdotal, it gives us kind of an indication of what might be going on, and kind of helps some of our science, helps us to pinpoint it. So working with fishermen is really important in that, but keeping a scientific focus and standards on it is also very important.
We've had a tremendous amount of data from previous years showing that this area where the oil spill hit was a prime critical feeding area for whale sharks. And the fact that these animals have probably been shown up to this region for hundreds of thousands to millions of years had us really concerned that they would just show back up because this is what they do. And but the hope was that maybe they would redistribute because of the oil. Well, that evidence there showed that sort of our worst fears realized that these animals were coming here, they were not detecting it, and it wasn't necessarily the toxicity of the oil, it's more the physical properties. They're more susceptible, probably the most susceptible than the sharks, both whale sharks and manta rays, because they're filter feeders and they spend a lot of time at the surface. And so this was a big concern that they would come in, feed, and get their gills coated with the oil and basically suffocate. And so we don't have any direct evidence of this because the three animals that were observed were never seen sinking, but this has probably occurred, and at this point we don't know what the impact is. It could have a significant impact on the population, or it could impact a very small portion of the population. And so it's going to take years of population data to really get an understanding of what that means. And I guess starting next year, are we seeing the whale shark show up in large numbers like we typically see, or are we seeing a change? And with whale sharks, it's not just the northern Gulf that's being impacted. These animals are coming from the southern Gulf, from the Caribbean, and beyond. And so not only are you impacting one stock with a large animal like this, it's basically a worldwide distribution. And so you've got other parts of the world that are relying heavily on ecotourism due to these animals, and these people the businesses are very concerned that their animals potentially may have died due to this oil spill, and they're not going to show back up into these areas, and it's going to, the economic hit could be very far-reaching.
The first level is to think about the ecology of the system, because it's kind of like an assembly line. The assembly line is perfect, putting out a perfect product, and we've been hired to come in as new managers. Now, if we were smart, we'd just say, oh, it's running well on its own, we're just going to go play golf or go fishing all day. But what we've done is we've messed with the assembly line, the habitats, and the water quality. And so we're changing the quality of the product, and we don't understand why. And so that's what the science is all about, figuring out how that works. But then the implications are the product at the end. And part of that product, or the beneficiaries of the product, are the fisheries. In the Gulf of Mexico alone, recreational fisheries are worth over $40 billion per year. So if we redistribute where fish go and how they behave, we're affecting that economy. So for example, even if fishing areas weren't closed this past summer due to the oil spill, the lack of fish in those areas would have kept guides from working. It would have kept commercial fishermen from working. Even the bad press decreased the number of trips for guides in Southwest Florida and the Keys, even though there was never any oil spotted within hundreds of miles.